Previously on what was technically the first part of this episode. I feel like resurrectionist is definitely that's how you up your CV, really, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So smoke enemas were a thing. With tobacco. I mean, they chopped off fingers and toes just to see if someone would wake up. And now, the rest of the episode. By the late 1800s, the Parisian morgues became public spectacles. It wasn't that weird, was it? Because surgery used to happen and they used to have big amphitheatres for surgeries and all of that stuff.
Big amphitheatres for people. Basically, death was a form of entertainment. We didn't have televisions. Not many people had access to, like, books. Obviously, that was for, like, rich people and that. So people used to go on family days to, like, public executions where, you know, they used to sell cakes and things and you used to just go watch the...
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what they did here, basically.
This is in Paris.
Yeah, so this was at Paris where it started. So people would flock by the thousands just to see unidentified bodies. So they were dead bodies that no one knew who they laid claim to. They'd just be laying on slabs in front of, like, huge windows, and people could get, like, a glimpse of the corpses. And there was, like, toys and sweets and pastries outside, vendors just capitalizing on people's, like, morbid curiosity. How crazy is that? The window shopping, essentially, is what that is.
Just a morgue with windows, essentially.
These establishments allowed corpses to lie in zinc trays until putrefaction, which is the process of decomposition. The zinc trays were filled with an antiseptic to reduce the chance of infection or to delay the decomposition, and the areas around the trays were decorated with fragrant flowers to disguise the inevitable stench of death. But this is apparently likely where the custom of decorative flowers at funeral services originated.
That makes sense, actually.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Can you imagine the smell, though?
Yeah, I don't think... It would just be formaldehyde and petunias. I don't think it was gonna be great.
Imagine working there and going home with that on your hair.
There were some other weird tests as well, because that was just a test to see if someone was dead. That was just a common way they checked if someone was dead, let them rot on display.
They just left people out just to see if they actually... Right, okay, fair.
One was wait for the body to release gases to reveal invisible ink. So... obviously, when a body dies, it releases invisible ink. I didn't read too much into this one.
It releases invisible ink?
No, sorry, it releases gases.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know we had invisible ink in our veins.
Oh, okay. So actually, invisible ink can be dated back 2,000 years, starting with the ancient Greeks and Romans. Okay, so by using acetate of lead, obviously, to create an ink, the phrase, "I am really dead," was written on a piece of paper. The paper was then placed under the corpse's nose. The body's release of sulfur dioxide, the consequence of putrefaction, would activate the ink. "If I'm really dead" appeared on the paper, the corpse was officially decided dead.
Oh, okay. That's a fun way. A little bit of arts and crafts, just to find out if you're actually a corpse or not.
Yeah, there we go. Apparently, false positives were occasionally a problem, though. So things like tooth decay and tonsillitis would cause sulfur dioxide to happen anyway. So not great. Another one was to stick a dead person's finger in your ear and hear a pulse. But what do you think is your favourite way they tried to stop the dead? Is it the smoke enemas?
It's got to be the tobacco enemas. Like, that's just... I don't understand. That's completely left field. I just love...
I'd never even heard of it, and scientifically I don't understand it.
It doesn't make sense scientifically in any way at all. It's just... I can't help but picture someone who's gone in because they've, like, fainted or something and they haven't been able to find a heartbeat. And they've just had, like, a momentary lapse, you know, they've just gone unconscious, and they just wake up in a morgue with someone just blowing smoke up their butt and having to then be explained why they're blowing the smoke up my butt.
Well, I don't think you got to the morgue. It was more like in your living room, in your parlour.
That's even worse. It's like, why are you in my own house?
Chimney sweeps here. Don't go in there. Which gets me on to my next topic. So they're a very superstitious bunch of people, really, weren't they? Well, spiritualistic, superstitious. They had a lot of ways that bad luck could happen surrounding a funeral. I didn't know about this. Here are some of my favourite superstitions. It was a long list, so I only got like 6 down. They would stop the clock in the death room, or you'd have bad luck. Which I'm curious if that's kind of like what started so you could figure out when a body died.
I mean, maybe.
The doctors might have realised, hey, that's actually a really handy indicator.
Yeah, like, thanks for stopping the clock. Now we know that this person's been dead for like 6 hours.
But another one, if you don't hold your breath whilst going through a graveyard, you will not be buried. That's a weird one.
That is a weird one.
If a picture falls off the wall, then there will be death of someone you know.
Would it be the people in the picture? or...
No, just anyone. The thing is, right, a lot of this is just like, oh, and then someone will die. But everyone's dying all the time, so it's like, well, a picture fell the other day and now someone's dead. It's like, yeah, to be fair, that is solid evidence because everyone was dying all the time. Like, you can't then go, well, there's no correlation because there always is because everyone's dying.
But they didn't realise that the correlation was their own doings. They just kept unwittingly poisoning themselves, essentially, which I'll get into later. But that's why death was around everywhere, every corner, didn't matter your age, didn't matter what. Death was very much everyone's best friend in the Victorian era because everyone knew it. So obviously, if they're poisoning themselves, but they don't know that that's what they're doing, the picture falls off the wall, someone dies, it makes sense. You build up those correlations, don't you? Like, you know, your superstition is like how you can't say Macbeth. Like, it's ingrained in people.
Dropping an umbrella on the floor or opening one in the house means that there will be a murder in that house.
Is that where that came from then? Is that why it's unlucky to... Oh my word.
Yeah. And my personal favourite, just because this seems absolutely insane, a diamond-shaped fold in clean linen portends death.
What do you mean a diamond shape like this?
A diamond-shaped fold in clean linen.
Okay.
So fold your linen correctly.
Yeah. Or you're gonna die. Death doesn't take kindly to diamonds, apparently.
I'm just picturing this very wealthy estate and like a really annoyed maid who's like, I'm gonna show you something.
Look at this.
But yeah, they were some of my favourites of the Victorians who were high-key obsessed with death. Let's be real.
Yeah, the Victorian era all round was obsessed with horror and death. I mean, think about it. Some of our most classic writers and stories and ideas today came from the Victorian era because it was so rife with just morbid. It was just morbid. It was morbid. It was horrible. It was...
They loved morbid. They loved ghost stories and...
I'd got on amazingly in the Victorian era. I probably died of cholera, but...
I don't think we'd do well in the Victorian era for about 12 different reasons. I don't think they had vegans back then. I don't know what I'd do for dietary requirements.
No, they didn't have vegans back then. The bread was definitely vegan.
Oh, well, yes. That does remind me, because I did touch briefly on penny dreadfuls.
Yes, and I love the good old penny dreadfuls.
So ghost stories, fairy tales, and legends of strange gods, demons, and spirits. Reanimated corpses and vampires.
Was it Mary Shelley that wrote Frankenstein? It was, wasn't it? And then obviously you had like your Draculas and it was just a good time.
I feel like a lot of people know what a penny dreadful is, but they were cheap, popular serial literature produced during the 19th century of the United Kingdom. They were also called penny horrible or penny awful and penny blood.
Penny blood. That sounds metal as anything. That's a band name right there.
I mean, penny dreadful doesn't sound overly cheerful. So the term typically referred to a story published in weekly parts of 8 to 16 pages, each costing 1 penny, which is why they were called penny dreadfuls. The subject matter of these typically sensational, focusing on the exploits of detective, criminals, or supernatural entities. These are the characters they would feature: Sweeney Todd, Dick Turpin, Varney the Vampire. Varney the Vampire, favourite one. And Spring-Heeled Jack.
Ooh, do you know about Spring-Heeled Jack?
No.
Right, so I've heard about Spring-Heeled Jack before. It was basically a myth that was going around London at the time. I think he was killing people, but he could, like, jump over, like, big walls and stuff, and that's why he was called Spring-Heeled Jack, I think. English folklore. Spring-Heeled Jack is an entity in English folklore of the Victorian era. The first claimed sighting of Spring-Heeled Jack was in 1837. Later, sightings were reported all over the United Kingdom, and were especially prevalent in suburban London, the Midlands, and Scotland.
You're on Wikipedia right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I just read that exact same paragraph out of you spoken because I'm also on Wikipedia. That was just me covering penny dreadfuls because I think they're really cool.
They are really cool. They are really cool. I love the penny dreadfuls.
So now on to my favourite topic, spiritualism in the Victorian times. And obviously we're probably going to have to do a whole thing. In the Victorian age, spiritualism, the belief of ghosts and dead and all of that stuff.
All the fun stuff, all the good stuff.
It was incredibly popular because they had nothing else to do at the time. The spiritualist movement began with Margarita and Catherine Fox, teenage girls in New York who claimed in 1848 that they could communicate with a ghost haunting the farmhouse where they lived by means of stamping their feet, which the spirit rapped in return. I didn't know that. I did not know that's how it originated. British interest in spiritualism was stirred up during the visit to American medium Maria B. Hayden. She began her mediumship in 1851 at the age of 25 at a seance in New England. By the following year, she was in England, advertising her services, charging half a guinea for her sittings. And I tried to figure out what that meant in today's money, and I couldn't figure it out. So
Couldn't find out what a guinea was in UK currency today.
I figured it out, but then I didn't know what it meant inflation-wise. Like, I don't know if that's like £100 now or whatever. I think half a guinea was like a third of a pound or something. So spiritualism revolved around the communication with the dead through different mediums. It was considered a scientific movement and did not ask anyone to have blind faith. I didn't know it was considered a scientific movement.
Yeah, technically. I mean, obviously, we now know it wasn't. But back then, they didn't know better. They didn't know science was what sticks, Like, it was whatever they threw at the wall, whatever they thought made sense, that's what.
To be fair, that's the thing. If you don't know what's right and what's wrong, you may as well believe that you can talk to a ghost with some cards. So, popular forms of spiritualism during the Victorian era. Mesmerism, which I'm going to touch on briefly afterwards. Electrobiology, didn't know what that meant. Basically, a theory of animal magnetism according to which actions, feelings, etc. of a person are controlled by the will of the operator. The only thing I know about animal magnetism is that I believe in 2 Point Hospital, that is a disease you can get where you've got a bunch of animals magnetized to you.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Obviously, clairvoyance, thought reading, and crystal gazing. The seances were incredibly popular, yeah.
Incredibly popular, brought popular from the Fox sisters mainly.
Literally, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert participated in spiritualist seances as early as 1846.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was actually a spiritualist as well.
Yes, he was.
Mr. Man that wrote the Sherlock Holmeses.
That was just a brief cover of spiritualism. I'm not going to go super into it because I feel like you're going to really want to do a deep dive into spiritualism. Which was your favorite? If you could pick, would you do, what did we have? Mesmerism, electrobiology, clairvoyance, thought reading, crystal gazing?
You didn't go into mesmerism. You didn't explain to me what that was, because I don't know what mesmerism is.
I'm about to go into mesmer. Don't you worry.
Right, okay, right. Oh, okay. But we want to know, if I could choose...
But if you could choose which one you'd do...
I would go to a good old-fashioned seance. I'd have to.
Would you? Yeah. I mean, you've got the chairs and everything.
Well, not even just... It's just the experience of, people... As a shared experience, it always interests me how, even though I know it's all a sham, but you put these people in a situation where everyone's in the same experience and even the hardest skeptic can be swayed. Do you know what I mean? It's like that shared belief of what you experience being.
The power of suggestion.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to go with the good old seance. I'd love to. I find it interesting.
I feel like you'd have to do it back in that time as well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Anyway, so, mesmerism.
Ooh, mesmerised me.
In the 1830s and 1840s, the craze of mesmerism, in which a miraculous medical cures could be effected by manipulating the invisible flows of animal magnetism that pass through and between bodies. The mesmerist would throw his subject into a trance, allowing the recharging of their battery. This was first theorized by Franz Anton Mesmer. It was discredited by a team of academic scientists, but it still became a popular medical treatment. It was discredited, but I guess they still went. They were like, yeah, you can tell us no, but...
Yeah, no, they'll still do it. They might be told, do this instead of this, but they'll still do the wrong thing, the Victorians.
Franz Mesmer was a German physician with an interest in astronomy. He theorized that the existence of natural energy transference occurred between all animate and inanimate objects. That's what he called animal magnetism, sometimes later referred to as mesmerism. So he popularized it, essentially. It's based off his name, bit selfish.
Yeah, but if you made something, wouldn't you have it named after you?
Yeah, probably. Or just something really weird. Just something I'd have the most scientific name, but then give it a further scientific name, so people had to use a really complicated scientific name as an easy option.
It's a good job you're not a scientist, isn't it?
By 1780, Mesmer had more patients than he could treat individually and established a collective treatment known as a banquet.
Yay.
An English doctor who observed Mesmer described the treatment as follows, and I think this is really cool. In the middle of the room is placed a vessel of about 1.5 feet high, which is called a banquet. It is so large that 20 people can easily sit round it near the edge of the lip which it covers. A huge circled table, essentially. There are holes pierced corresponding to the number of people surrounding it. Into the holes are inserted iron rods. You with me so far?
Yeah, so far. It's a weird picture, but I'm picturing it.
So the bent at right angles outwards and at different heights, so as to answer the part of the body which they are applied.
Okay.
So, like head, chest, arm, shoulder, whatever. Besides the rods, there is rope which communicates between the banquet and one of the patients.
Okay.
So you've got a rod pointing at someone's essentially tied with a rope to the desk, so even if they want to run away, they can't, I'm guessing. And they're all tied together with these ropes as well.
Okay.
The most sensible effects are produced on the approach of Mesmer, who is said to convey the fluid by certain motions with his hands and eyes without touching the person. It was group hypnosis, is what I can figure out. And this guy, apparently he talked to several people who witnessed these effects, and they would have convulsions occasionally by like the movement of a hand. Literally, because everyone believed it.
Yeah, it worked.
And they all sat around this table, tied by rope and having some metal pointing at them. It's amazing how... that is literally mesmerizing people by the definition of the word. But what's even better, right, is that in 1784, without Mesmer requesting it, King Louis XVI appointed members of the Faculty of Medicine to investigate animal magnetism and mesmerism. So King Louis XVI was just like, this seems a little sus. I'm literally gonna get the Faculty of Medicine onto you. That's like, I've called the board. So they didn't examine mesmer specifically, but instead observed the practice of Dielson. They used blind trials, blindfolding the subjects in their investigation, and the commission found that mesmerism only seemed to work when subjects were aware of it. Obviously, because it's the power of suggestion.
You can't be hypnotized if you're not aware that you're going to... Yeah.
The findings are considered the first observation of the placebo effect.
Ah, cool. Okay, so that's where that came from. Because, it is the placebo effect, essentially.
It is a placebo effect. Yeah, you believe it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, yeah. Ah.
But yeah, that's the first, proof of the placebo effect.
That's cool.
Mesmer was then driven into exile.
Oh.
Due to being discredited. However, his influential student, Amand Marie Jacques de Cassatant, Marquise of Persiger.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, who was that? Who was that? Can you say that again for me, please?
However, his influential student continued to have many followers until his death.
What was the student's name?
No one knows. So yeah, that's a cool little dip into mesmerism. It was literally, we all know it's obviously the power of suggestion.
Obviously.
So it's just popular by this guy, became so big that it got investigated, and then created the placebo effect.
Yeah, and then he got, what was it? Banished? Exiled?
Exiled.
Yeah, happy end to the story there.
But yeah, that's some of my little covers into the Victorians, their science, their spirituality, whatever. They really just tried to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Do you feel like you learned anything from it?
I learned so much. I learned about tobacco enemas.
I feel like that's the one that's going to stick with us the most. The one I really didn't want to ever actually have to say, but needed to say anyway.
Yeah, no, I learned a lot. Thank you. That was very informative.
Admittedly, you knew a lot about the spiritualism, but I feel like you didn't know that much about Mesmer.
No, I didn't know much about Mesmer at all. Mesmer was something I didn't know about, so that's something I learned.
Well, that's been the episode. Whoa, thanks for joining us on our Victorian dive. We've got part 2 coming soon, where we're covering, what are we covering, Shannon?
We are covering the eating of corpses, colour to die for, and they put what in their bodies?
Whoa, all of that and more on next. Dude, you good.
Whoa.
Follow us on Instagram at Caffeine Addled Minds on Instagram. We do other shows too, so you can find all updates there. Whoa, there's also animations on the YouTube. Caffeine Addled Minds on YouTube. That's crazy.
What? There's animations of us?
There's so much. Oh my gosh, if you like really fun, snippy animations, check out that.
If you want to hunt some blues and look at some Ouija boards, go have a look.
I've been Luke. That's been Shannon.
I've been Shannon.
Thanks for listening. Rate, review, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Feel free to suggest what we should dive into next.
Yes, feel free. Anything.
Crazy. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We do other stuff too, so here's a trailer for our podcast, GNS Radio.
Hello and welcome to GNS Radio, a place where people can come together to voice their opinions and perhaps even concerns about our local Corporation, GNS. Rest assured, listeners, there will be no repercussions for anything said on the air.
GNS is a fictional creation of a caffeine-addled mind and does not actually want to take over the world. Or so they say. Remember, free thought is your right. I have to go. I can hear their boots outside. They've found me, but rest assured I will not be silenced for long. Keep listening, friends.